Grace, what a season it's been. Today when it started a bit shakily, but in the end, Lionesses have managed to get to Division 2. It would have been Division 1, but the format changed now to Division 2. How, first of all, just how are you feeling at the end of the season, managing to get this?
I'm actually feeling so overwhelmed. I feel like we really worked so hard. We sweat, we train on the rain, we did everything, and definitely people won't know behind the bars. And people just want us to see us performing, which is really nice. It's a nice feeling, it's a mixed feeling. We feel very honored. As much as we didn't make it to Division 1, we are going to make it on our end of Division 2.
Yeah. After yesterday, can you just talk me coming into today? What was the team talk like? Just knowing you had to win against Colombia first of all, and then when you met in the second match, the playoff final, you also had to win. How was it?
Actually, tulienda kwa room tukaongeleshwa, tukasema watu wengine wako na watoto wamemove out kwa nyumba, hawezi rudi kwa wazazi, hatuwezi acha mboga ianguke. So we went back, we collect ourselves, we work on what was not working for us. We are able to control what is controllable for us today.
This has been your first season with sponsors. There's really playing a massive role. Just amazing.
I would like to say thank you so much for M-Pesa. It's been a journey. Without you, I think we'll not be here. But with you, Lionesses have been able to manage, to work, to score, to win. And thank you so much. Yo, I don't know, but as long as I'm back at the hotel before my flight. I don't know how we are going to do it, but we are going to do it. Thank you so much.
Okay, that was Grace Okulu from the Kenya Lionesses. And coming up next is Sheila Chajira, the Kenya Lionesses captain. But joining me for episode 35 of 254 Rugby is Kibui. But how are you doing, my man?
Doing all right. It's been a sunny weekend in Texas. Busy. And so tomorrow I get a break in the morning from my busy weekend. But
Great.
doing great.
Awesome. It's equally been. I'm doing good. It's equally been sunny here in Seattle. Just enjoying the weather, the comments from the girls as well. We do have Sheila Chajira coming up, and then we're going to get into this. Let's hear from Sheila and then get into a conversation.
All right.
Finally, you guys did it. What are your honest and raw emotions?
I've been in this team for 10 years plus. We've been working for this goal to qualify for the HSBC, and finally we've done it. It has been a long time coming, and I'm so proud of the girls for making it happen.
And it was a long journey. You guys, at the start of the season, you were fighting to go to Division 1, and then the format changed game. First of all, how did you take that position in the format?
Everything happens for a reason. It was sad for us knowing that we won't be able to play to the HSBC, but venye may come. So we are open to playing here and eventually to play to the HSBC.
As one of the experienced players in the team, just after yesterday you lost back-to-back. Today all the pressure was on you guys. You had to beat Colombia first, and then after Colombia, we knew the rest probably would take care of itself. We'd have a chance at Division 2. How was it after yesterday?
The goal was to qualify, to first of all to win our games. Unfortunately, we lost both of our games, but it was Colombia and the team that comes that inakuja in between us and unga yetu bana. And we are not ready to lose what we have, and definitely we will attract more. So that's why we had to fight with every strength that we had.
And then it was an African derby, the playoff final in South Africa. And you guys, they scored first, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they scored first, but you had a yellow card, you managed to overturn it, they had a red card, and then you got the choke down. How are the nerves in that match, knowing it was South Africa?
Back at home, we used to play scenarios of if we have a yellow, or what if we get a yellow card. So what we will do. So that's why the girls were cool, calm, and we decided just to defend until Judith come back, and then we finished the game. Yeah.
Are you gonna celebrate at what's next for the girls?
You say?
How are you gonna celebrate tonight?
We don't know. Venye inakaa mikao.
Oh, last one. Who do you like to express your gratitude to this week?
First of all, Kenya Rugby for the opportunity to be able to play this game that we love. Secondly, our sponsors, M-Pesa. You saw something in us that nobody else saw. I've seen, sorry. And the girls definitely for putting their body on the line and grind and make sure we qualified.
Thank you so much.
Well. Powerful words both from Grace Okulu and Sheila Chajira. The Lionesses obviously winning the game that mattered in Los Angeles for them. That 17-14 win over South Africa means they'll play in the World Series Division 2. Not what they wanted, but I mean, they came, they did their stuff, and I'm pretty proud of their performances.
They closed out their weekend perfectly. Couple of fine margins yesterday, right? It was just bad luck. Colombia scoring against the run of play. They had majority of the ball. Their game today against Brazil have been giant killers. So they've taken down a couple of big teams, especially in the last two tournaments. And it was a respectable score. And then they managed that South Africa game so well. I thought we had blown it when she knocked on the 5-meter line, but thankfully the TMO got involved, and the young lady who knocked herself out trying to take Auma down, we got that card, and like she said, they play scenarios. So credit to Deno for having them run through those scenarios. They were cool, they were calm, and she took the ball home and she dove in and she scored. And then the whole crowd was, if you've been in the Kenya Sevens, it's like, hey, and then they go to the side and they go, well done, Kenya Sevens. And the thing that hurts me listening to them talk is there was the expectation of playing at that next level, and it was stolen from them before the games even started. So when they were walking out hand in hand, during the parade, and Sevens had already announced that they've taken away the previous format. Doesn't matter what you do this weekend. Such an anticlimax, even before the kickoff of the first game. I'm so disappointed in World Sevens rugby.
I totally agree with you. And, previously, when we've known that there's something to play for, we've been able to, feel the energy, have that energy. Doesn't matter whether you're in the stadium or out of the stadium, but you'd actually stop what you're doing to catch those games on your phone, on your tablet. But it just wasn't there because in the knowledge that these guys are playing a second tier tournament, really not by their making, but because of the powers that be. And let me just give you an anecdote from high school.
Yeah.
There's a year we won the districts in Kakamega. Mm-hmm. And then we were going for provincials. And then suddenly this edict came out that it's only, the defending champions the district champions who from the previous year who will go to the provincial. So it was now a 4-team affair. And this was like after winning the event and a week to preparations. I'm not saying that I empathize, but I'm just saying that's how gutting it felt,
I mean, it's painful to feel like you've earned something and then taken away. The opportunity was taken away before you even had a chance to do anything. It was out of your hands. I think that they could have even waited till, maybe postseason and say, you know what, we've looked at the structure and we've looked at the format, and at least maybe discuss why you're doing it. Don't say that this is to grow the game. It kind of feels like it's a budgetary, like the accountants came and made the decision. You don't want to house people, or you don't want to fly people for the tournament. You don't want to pay for that extra day at the stadium. Maybe that's what it is. But if you're transparent about it, people would understand. Don't give us some bullshit line about growing the game and then you cut tier 1. It stinks.
I totally agree with you. And remember, it is the spirit of diversity, surprise, and culture that actually got Rugby Sevens included at the Olympic Games in 2016. I remember World Rugby back then when it was known as the International Rugby Board, actually using Kenya's own Humphrey Kayange as one of the ambassadors. They could have used anybody else, but you know, it was very deliberate in using a player from a lower tier nation to actually show the effect of rugby sevens and why it should be at the Olympics. But now we move on, and then you are making it an exclusive club. That's what it's turning out to be.
Yep, the leveraged tall, that's Humphrey Karange for guys who don't know. The leveraged target, the leveraged Kenya's IOC poll, International Olympic Committee poll. And, you know, I'm glad for rugby that it's part of the Olympics, right? But it's clear that we'll just use our resources as we can, but it's still an exclusive club. You know, USA is mad about it, and they were mad about the announcement on home soil that your team, regardless of what they do, are still going to be Division 2. So USA Rugby, rightfully, were pissed off about it. And so should the other teams be. Germany should be pissed off. Germany have been building a squad for the last 4 or 5 years, and they put in a stellar performance this weekend. And I think for them too, they probably thought they're going to make it up to, you know, Tier 1, and Tier 1 is gone now. And I don't know. It's not about sour grapes that Kenya is not there. I think for me, it's growing the game. Don't say you're going to grow the game and then you do things like this.
Absolutely. And like we said, really an anticlimax, like you mentioned it. I mean, the oomph to watch those games simply wasn't there. However, before we continue with our conversation, let's hear from Kevin Wambua, the Shujaa head coach. And for those who don't know, Shujaa is the men's team, the Kenya Sevens men's national team. They were also in Los Angeles, equally affected by the announcement from World Rugby. Let's hear what Kevin Wambua has to say about the performance in Los Angeles.
Season finally comes to an end. Probably if this was Division 1, we'd have maintained our post status. Just how are you feeling after the performance from the boys?
Well, again, tough season. Our priority for this tournament just before the change in the format was to make sure that we are back in the series. But again, for us, we were gutted by the decision by World Rugby. But I told the boys we just control what we can control, and our priority for this weekend was to make sure that we are in the 7s2. We're going to use the 7s2 as a platform to get back to the main series. We know we have less tournaments. We are playing 3 tournaments. They're going to be playing 6 tournaments before we meet each other. But it's upon us to look for satellite tournaments so that we make sure that we are playing same amount of tournaments as them. Competitive tournaments again, so that by the time we are meeting them in the championship, we're almost at the same level.
What would be a word to, you see the fans have turned up, they followed you everywhere. In Perth they were incredible, the USA they were incredible. What would be a message to them just as a thank you as the season comes?
I'd like to say thank you to all the fans who actually have traveled halfway across the world to come and support the team. I think so far Dubai was good, Perth was excellent, and LA was superb. Everybody you could see when we were playing, everybody was on the way we were playing. So I'd like to thank them. I'd like to tell them to be patient. We have 2 teams now playing in 7s2, which is the men's side and the women's side. And I'm pretty confident about our chances to getting back to the top. We just need to make sure that we work hard and also work smart at the same time. And when the opportunity comes, we just need to take it.
Coach, you are a smart coach. I'm sure after the change in format, you're already starting to think ahead. Because I know it's resting time for the boys, but for you, you are like, how can I crack this and make it to D1 next season maybe? Just what next now? What do you like to say?
No doubt, after the long season, again, the boys need some rest, so it's off rugby for them for probably a couple of weeks. For me, again, it's just to make sure that I analyze the season, I look at what worked for us, what didn't work for us. Again, I need a break, but again, we need to start planning about the future. Again, it's going to be a short turnaround heading to the next season. We just need to be prepared. Like I said before, we need to make sure that we play the same amount of tournaments as the teams that are playing in 7s1. So we're just waiting for the fixtures to come out and see which tournaments we can pick off so that we make sure we are competitive and also we're in touch in terms of competitions and tournaments played.
But just finally, your passion project, you started with Kenya Lionesses. Finally, they're in the same place now. Let's say with the men. How was it just seeing them get over the line?
Yeah, I'm happy for them again. Them getting that win, especially against South Africa, it's massive again. So I'm just happy for them. I went there and I'm just happy about the progress. So moving forward again, let's see if we can get to Division 1, both teams.
All right, coach. Thank you very much.
There, we've heard it from Kevin Wambua. Your take on his comments, number one, and on Shujaa's performances during the competition in Los Angeles.
I love that he's leading with positivity, and he's basically put it to the back. There's no sour grapes in what he's saying. He's being pragmatic about it, and we're going to work towards being there next season. Like he said, they're going to look for satellite tournaments, but at this point, we're playing down a level, right? You're not playing Argentina, Australia, New Zealand every tournament. Now you're going to be playing USA. You're going to be playing Germany, who have improved significantly, Portugal, and then they're going to go look for satellite tournaments. But I think he's got the right attitude. I think between him and Shujaa and then Deno and the Lionesses, I think they're they're excellent caretakers, and they just need to keep them engaged and focused for the next 12 months. M-Pesa, who has been a sponsor, they need to do whatever they have to do to keep them on board. And the brand needs support. Kenyan Rugby needs support. So hopefully the investors in the private market will support them and keep them funded for the next 12 months, at least until they can prove that they'll make it up a level. What are your thoughts?
Well, I do like his approach in terms of being pragmatic and seeing how to build from there, and that includes calling for Shujaa and also the Lionesses to feature in satellite tournaments, not only to expose the players but to give them the same, if not similar, levels of match fitness as the potential opponents they're going to meet in future. And that is, basically laying down the gauntlet to the Kenya Rugby Union, who I hope finally get their house in order and stop their infighting and are able to prioritize the performances and welfare of our national teams. Shujaa, the Lionesses, even in the 15th version of the game, the Simbas, Chipu, it has to be about the rugby. And as you have seen from these performances that have come through under, I'd say, difficult circumstances, both teams have delivered to some extent. You may recall that at the start of this campaign, there was a contractual issue between senior players in Shujaa and the Kenya Rugby Union that has been resolved, and it's like they were never away. For the Lionesses, they went into the campaign literally unsure of finances and the little things, but they've been able to get resources. It shows you that when you're performing and your house is in order, you're able to attract the goodwill that is necessary to maintain and even improve the kind of performances that we're seeing from both sides.
Yeah, I mean, Kiara, you just need to, like you said, the infighting, the factions that are warring right now. All we can do is hope for the best for the players. We know people on both sides of the fence, and so the greater good is that people swallow their egos and just support the rugby, and that's all we can hope for. Us all the way far away in the US, just praying for. I literally, rugby for me is more than just a sport. Rugby for me is something that saved me when I had nothing else. It's not spoken, but in many circles. But there was a time when literally rugby kept me sane. So for me, it's personal, because I know that rugby is doing that for some of these young guys. It's keeping them from mental breakdowns. It's keeping them from whatever hard things that they go back home to. But for me, it was an escape. And so that's why for me, I need to see it succeed in Kenya. So.
Absolutely, and I guess we can sum it up by saying that rugby is life, because
Yeah.
been in a similar scenario where rugby actually became my bread and butter, despite this not being something that I thought would be.
Mhm.
As somebody who worked previously in the corporate world in another life, and then you come, and this is after your playing days, and still get involved with the game, and even after I've left the Kenya Rugby Union, it still is very much in my DNA, and like we just want to see the game succeed regardless of who is in office. Now, we've spent 20 minutes talking about Shujaa and about little things
Yeah.
related to the game of rugby. Let's talk about the LA Sevens.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, did you catch at least the last the semis and the finals? Catch
No,
any games?
I did
Okay.
not, and that's why you're here to walk me through
All
it.
right. So, final was the women's final was a whitewash. And like New Zealand, the last three tournaments have just found another level. And for me, I think they're just head and shoulders above everyone else. Australia a tier below, and then below that is the French, the Americans, and the Canadians. Canadians put in a very good show this weekend, and they're rounding out a very good squad. If anything, I will say that it'll be a three-horse race maybe next year with Canada, the Australians, and New Zealand, of course, at the top. New Zealand just imperious form. Georgia Miller, Sarah Hirini, Pori Lane, all just they have 12 stellar players in their squad, and everybody else has maybe like Australia has about maybe nine, and then the other teams drop down to the quality, right, and just the gameplay. But switching over to the men's final, Spain, who was my surprise pick at the beginning of the season, nobody was talking about Spain, but I remember watching them the last few tournaments and saying these guys play serious rugby, and they embarrassed the Argentinians in that in the semifinal. They won by over, I think, almost 20 points. It was like 25-7, something like that. And then South Africa, the surprise package for the last few tournaments of the season with the old boys, Soyuz Wapi, Zane Davids, Selwyn Davids, Ronald Brown. They just found another gear, and they just ran hard lines, played good defense, and they reigned victorious. So they won another tournament, and so SA they're going to end up fourth on the log after a very, very slow, painful start to the season. Spain will end up second on the log, and credit to them, man. They built a program from nothing in 5 years,
Yep.
and they now have probably, I would say that's probably the second best squad right now in World Sevens rugby behind Argentina. So credit to Spain for absolutely bringing it every game, and their coaching is solid. Their players 1 through 12 are solid. They're a joy to watch. It's not individual brilliance. There is individual brilliance, but they have players who can take the game by the scruff of the neck, but they play as a team. So, credit to them for making the final and losing it in a tight game. It was 3-1.
Absolutely. And when you talk about Spain, we talk about investment, building a team with no superstars. And to think that
They
probably
have
three
one
or four,
superstar, Paul Blau,
yes,
but
obviously this, but everybody else, weighs in with their effort. And to
yeah,
think that probably 4 years ago, probably 3 or 4 of those players played in Nairobi with the Spanish team at the Safari Sevens, all part
a
of a
tier three
developmental.
tournament maybe.
Yeah, and you can see what they're doing,
Yeah,
being deliberate, and well, good luck to them. And yeah, that's been the seventh season. Like I said, an anticlimactic end to sevens rugby in 2025.
but I can't remember a more lopsided tournament
Yeah,
this season. I don't think that has anything to do with the announcement for Tier One, but I just feel like the energy was just different.
yeah.
Fiji lost every game this weekend.
Wow,
When
wow.
was the last time you saw Fiji losing games? And usually they have the mental to come back and then just like come back and smash someone. Fiji just weren't on it this weekend. Australia lost the last pool game with a tackle, a smothered tackle. Like, what's that guy's name? The captain, King Henry. King Henry Hutchison he went over the line, but he was held up. They would have scored and won that game. They lost 21-19. So Australia played some amazing rugby. There were some good pool games. The women's rugby has been elevated a level, but there are like 3 or 4 teams that are really good, and then the drop off is there. Men's, it's been consistent 1 through 8. I'd say 1 through 12 have been pretty consistent. Kenya made a final the last tournament. So again, it's disappointing that we've gone from 16 teams down to 12 teams and now down to 8 teams on the men's side. The women have been given their exposure, so they've grown from what was just like exhibition matches in between here and there to now a full-fledged program that the World Rugby has decided they're going to invest in. The women, kudos to you for getting the funding. I'm disappointed that we've gone from tournaments where you'd fly out on a Thursday and you would have all these pool games, then you'd have the quarterfinals, then you'd have semifinals. I just feel kind of robbed that I'm not getting my fair share of rugby with my investment. You know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean.
So I was thinking of maybe trying to make Dubai this year. Now Kenya's not there. I have no incentive to go to Dubai.
Absolutely none. And you could just see the Kenya corner on pitch 2. And I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that this is what you need. Remember, it's also about the optics.
It is optics. And, what do you think the effect is going to be with, no Kenya in the sevens? What does that look like to you?
It looks like what I'm feeling right now, bland. Yeah, that it's gonna be that because Fiji, that's Fiji, but the Kenyans are literally in every corner on earth. Even in Poland during the last round of the Challenger series, I mean,
Yeah.
found the Kenyans there. Reminds me of a time we were in Vic Falls with the U21s, and we were seated speaking Swahili. So some guy passes and then passes again, and it's like, "Mnafanya nini hapa?" I'm just trying to show you. I mean, you can find Kenyans the world over. Probably I'm exaggerating it, but you know what I'm saying. That the absence in the stands will be felt, and it's not to say that the team actually showed a lot of effort this year, and they were definitely going to pull a rabbit out of the hat, and that is what you need as well in sport. It's not about the predictable, big boys getting the results through and through, So World Rugby have killed the unpredictability of sevens, making it boring. It is what it is.
I think it'll be interesting after Dubai and because traditionally Dubai and South Africa are the first 2 stops.
Yes.
So I think it'll be interesting to see what the participation looks like. South Africa is South Africa, but Dubai is going to be the interesting one because there are a lot of Kenyans that work in the Middle East. Dubai, Qatar, UAE. It's a short, 1-hour flight between those countries, and guys flock. Guys used to fly from Kenya, SA, to go watch that tournament, and the flair, the vibe, the Kenyan vibe, the Kenyan noise, the corner, it's gone now. So World Rugby, you've made your bed, lie in it. I'm not saying Kenyan rugby is the be-all, end-all, but Kenyan culture was a huge part of the sevens program for the last 25 years. So you've effectively put that in a corner for now, and now we have to wait and see what happens. So
I guess there's nothing global about World Rugby. There's nothing world about World Rugby.
No, I think it's back to being an exclusive club. You hear people complaining about, like in Australia, right? Because I follow and support the Wallabies, and I have for a long time. The big complaint has always been that rugby union has been the private schools. The reason why the best athletes go to league and go to Aussie rules is because you guys think you're better than us. And so it's an exclusive club. So this is almost feeling like an exclusive club now. So it's for World Rugby, for the third, second tier nations that we're hoping to progress onto the world stage. It's a gutting blow, but I think I would suspect that maybe 2 cycles from now, I wouldn't be shocked if they go back to maybe a 12 or 16 team format with less tournaments, and we see what happens from there. But I wouldn't be shocked if that happened.
Great. And before we sign off, Kibui,
Yes,
your son's team, they have a perfect record, like you were telling me earlier.
we're 6-6.
Yeah,
We're a team of what was essentially castaways.
yeah.
2 seasons ago, we're 0-10, and even before kickoff, the kids were asking me, "Are we going to lose again today? Are we going to lose again today?" So as a coach, you have to give them that energy and tell them, guys, just be positive. You just do the best you can. The score will take care of itself. And 3 seasons on now, I only have 2 holdovers from that side, and we're playing some really good football. I emphasize working hard off the ball. I emphasize playing for each other, make that extra pass when you're in space, and they're doing it. These are 9-year-olds. So, if you're the kind of person who has thought of supporting your kids' team, don't stand on the sidelines. You can get involved. No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
one of the things that so unrelated, but I went to a birthday party this afternoon. It's one of my son's teammates on his soccer team. So he invited like three other kids from the soccer team and some of his classmates. But the parents, they appreciate when you put into their kids. So one of the things I do is I also emphasize, eye contact when a parent is talking to you, not just coach, and you give these kids life lessons. So if you're thinking of doing it, I would fully encourage. It's so rewarding to coach your kids, and we are going for a perfect season with my Mohede squad.
All the best. I'm wishing you all the best with
Yes.
that, and rooting for
Cheers.
you, obviously. Oh, and you talked about eye contact. Sorry,
Yes.
this thought literally just popped up in my head,
Hmm.
and it's back to World Rugby's announcement.
Okay.
They made that announcement without making eye contact with the affected parties.
Shameless.
Shameless, man. Anyway,
Absolutely shameless. That's
it's
actually a shameful act.
yeah,
That how you do a press release and it's like a quiet little thing in the newspaper because you were too ashamed
yeah,
to make an announcement. That's so true.
man. We
Signing
take it
off.
as it comes. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's been great catching up with you.
Yes, sir.
Gonna let you relax now. Enjoy the rest of Sunday night.
At least until Wednesday when my blood pressure will go up.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Man. Okay. Not
Sorry for
expecting.
another day.
Yeah, not expecting anything from that. We'll take whatever
No.
result comes. But for now, this has been episode 35 of 254 Rugby. Michael Kwambo signing out.
Kibui Butt signing out. Thank you for having me on. Kenya Rugby, Shujaa, Lionesses, we're going to be there watching you and following you all of next season. M-Pesa, stand by your guys. We're with you. We're here to support you guys. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.